Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of, I'm going to just call it Spoiler Cast, where we are going to talk about the Suicide Squad. This is the James Gunn. People are saying it's the masterpiece of masterpieces. This basically, it takes everything that we saw in Suicide Squad and makes it anew, makes it refresh. And so we're here to discuss whether or not we loved it, whether or not we hated it, problems, things that we was jamming with, and probably also throw in what's going on with the Peacemaker series as well. So I am joined by Mr. Sir Richalot. Sir Richalot, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. What's up, listeners and viewers?
I am also joined by Mr. Daddy Polanco, Tony.
What is going on, people?
And lastly, we have Mr. Chris Seal Things. Go on, Mr. Chris Sealy.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
So, really quickly, like we always do with every format, we're going to just briefly say what we loved and or what we hated, how we felt about the Suicide Squad. So, Mr. Polanco, how does it go?
Yeah. All right. So when I first saw, like the first instance, when I heard they were gonna, redo another Suicide Squad, I'm like, all right, because that first movie was trash, right? Like I don't know about this, but then they said James Gunn. I'm like, I like James Gunn, and then they showed it was just promotional skills. I'm like, okay, there's something about this movie that looks pretty dope, right? And I believe I saw a trailer. I'm like, wow, this looks good. I'm on board. Saw this movie. I already knew I was gonna like it, but I ended up loving it. I'm like, whoa, this is not what I expected. This is fantastic. Like borderline, I'm not going to say masterpiece, but it's like borderline fucking great. I'm like, whoa. And, we'll get into it. I'm like, this movie had like more heart than I expected. I'm like, well, it's supposed to be some goofy ass movie. No, it had layers. This was some shit. I'm going to tease it now. I'm not going to say it right now, but I have a controversial statement to make that may get Marvel people very upset when I say it, but I think it's true, but I will say one half of the controversy right now. I believe I know this not saying much, but this is probably the best DCEU movie released so far. Like, I know it's not saying much because they've been mostly crap, but I definitely feel that way. I'm like, this was just thoroughly enjoyable from beginning to end, all of that. So yeah, I love the movie. I thought it was great.
All right, Mr. Rooter to the Tutor. How about you, Mr. Sir Richard Bailey Lott?
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of the points that Tony made. I thought the movie was excellent. Yeah, I thought it was exactly as it was advertised in the trailer. I know that some people had other thoughts about what they perceived this movie to be, but I was entertained from the very beginning. And I will also say this, and this is a controversial shot at Marvel. The pacing, how they were so quick to establish the story within 20 minutes. I think that Loki could learn a lot from that, because that Loki show started out way too slow. This immediately, I was hooked from the very start to the very end, and it has a lot to do with how they paced it, how fast they were able to establish the story, the characters. Excellent. So yeah, I enjoyed it for sure.
Wow. Mr. Chris Sealy, any thoughts?
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I watched it last night. I'm very pleased with that they held the R rating, and he took advantage of it, so much so that I think they threw in like things with like flowers coming out of people and stuff. I think DC was like, oh, all right, it's a little too much, man. It's a little too much. You gotta pull it back, because like people are exploding and shit. It's crazy. So I'm very glad for that. The action was pretty good. The pacing was good, and he does a couple things really well. He's a very good character writer. Like you really feel like these characters are real. Like and I think he challenges himself each time. He's like, all right, I'm not even going to go for D list. Let's go in the E list. Let me pull out Weasel and Polka Dot Man, and and he's like, and he makes them work, right? Like I don't. There's very few directors who could do that. Like you give guys. Look at right now, like in DC, you give guys Batman and they fuck it up, right?
Yeah.
And that's Batman. You're at the peak. You're at S class, right, with Superman and Batman, and they're fucking that up. So, and he's taking like E list. If there's an F list, that he went in there too, and pulled out guys. And he made it work. And I thought this movie was well done. I would say for me, Shazam edges it out a little bit, but this is definitely like the best of the current DC movies. It's better than anything that Marvel has come out with after Phase 3. That's for sure.
Oh,
So.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Woof. All right. Well, I guess I'll just jump in here really quickly and say that I've had to see it several times because I hated this movie
Whoa.
with all of my heart
Oh.
and all of my soul. I felt that it was all over the place. I felt that it wasn't grounded in anything. I felt that there were so many different the pacing. Yeah, you can say yeah, it was quick and great and fast, but between the cutting of finding out what timeline we were in, and then that whole opening sequence, which we'll talk about later, I was like, what is going on half the time? Why is there a giant fish there? The dude's faces with the polka dots, and I didn't get it, and I was just like, wow, what is going on? I guess because I wasn't used to such craziness and originality that I was completely thrown. And it was like, what is it that you're giving me? It kind of felt like you threw everything at me at once. And I'm trying to just grasp onto something. And then I watched it again, knowing what to expect with the craziness. And I really kind of paid attention to the character, the dialogue, the story overall, and how they took these characters. And even though we have Amanda Waller and Rick Flag and Harley Quinn that we've seen in 3 different movies, it felt like it was something that we've never seen before, especially with their personalities. And I really felt that this was a brand new iteration of those characters, of their journey, and I could appreciate that for what it was. It was still completely ridiculous and over the top, but my hatred kind of died down to like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. I may appreciate it one day, but today's not that day. But I see what you did there. So this is kind of how I felt. I outright hated it, and then I grew to love it. And I think with me, the more I watch it and the more you get the little tiny things, because there were so many like little lines that they would say. And there were so many different characters and their journeys and their own separate storylines that was kind of going on with their lives, especially with Polka Dot Man and his mama issues, that I really just had to sit and just really watch and pay attention to. So with that said, I appreciate James Gunn's details. I appreciate how he is writing characters and they seem like they're fully fleshed out. And even though we're only with them for like 2 hours and 15 minutes, I feel like I know them. And that was kind of similar to what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. These were characters that a majority of people was like, what the heck is this raccoon? What is Batista over there with like one word and he's invisible? I don't get it. But he made us grow to love him. Now, the second movie was poop, but the first movie, we grew to love them. So that's just how I felt about it overall. So kind of moving on, what were the highlights for you, Celie?
It started off great. Like James Gunn just knew, like, okay, people know this is like a reboot. I don't need to go over the Suicide Squad again. He just gets into it. He just goes in, and then I love it that they start off the movie and there's this kind of like them storming a beach, and you think, oh, we're following these guys, and then it's like, no, they just get slaughtered, and then there's the B team is actually the guys you're following, and they sneak on, and meanwhile, Michael Rooker's trying to swim away, he's like freaking out, and everybody else is either gunned down, and it should have been clear. I mean, if you send in a team with Weasel and Detachable Kid, like that's not the A team. That's the fodder, right? So that was a highlight. I I knew it was interesting. I think that the action was well done. The Idris Elba's character, was it Bloodsport? Bloodsport. Yes, Bloodsport and Peacemaker, John Cena's character. They played off well against each other, and I love that Idris Elba made a joke that this is the thing with DC. They have a lot of repeating characters. There are a lot of characters with the same powers. So when Amanda Waller introduces John Cena to him, he's like, he has the same origin as me. He does the same thing. Why do you need me if he does the same exact thing? So and they play off each other really well through the whole movie. I thought that was good. And then the lady who played Ratcatcher, like she's like the heart and soul of the team. I almost thought they were going to make Harley Quinn the heart of the team, but no, she was the glue holding them together, really. So that was well done. Those were highlights for me.
Richard?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what has already been said about the character development, the focus on certain characters. I agree with what Chris said about the Ratcatcher character, definitely the heart and soul of the team. I like the visual presentation of the film as well, and how there were certain instances in the story where it's moving forward, they would also make that clear in the actual visuals. Like it said, when they had to go to the island, but they had to save Harley Quinn first. Okay, Operation Save Harley, and they would put that in the actual graphics, in the visuals. I thought that was very cool, especially if you're a fan of comics and you can see and visualize how they would put that on the screen. And yeah, and one thing I will mention about the Harley Quinn character, I mean, she had her movie, the Birds of Prey movie, and that movie was made to establish how she is very much an independent character. She was out to try and prove herself. So when I saw how they had portrayed her in this movie, I felt as though James Gunn stayed exactly true to that character, because in the last movie, which had the ridiculous name, Birds of Prey, the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, the character is fully emancipated and she doesn't really need to be saved. They made that very clear in this movie, because even when they go to save her, it's like, well, she was able to take care of herself. So I thought that he was paying attention to this stuff and kept it consistent with that character to bring her back in this. And this is the exact same character that we've known in the past couple of films that she's been in. So yeah, I like the consistency of the characters, the presentation, of course, the action, and of course the gory and the dark humor. I was a fan of all of that, because as I believe Chris mentioned earlier, as well as Tony, they stuck to the R rating, and I appreciated it more for that. So yeah, those are my highlights.
Mr. Tanaka?
Yeah, like you guys said, I mean, I'll just go first. The first highlight for me was the violence. I loved it, because like I feel a lot of movies, I'm talking about every movie that's so sanitized, so clean. This was like 80s levels of violence, but obviously with special effects, you could do even more over the top. So I just loved how they just said, fuck it, let's just go in. Because when I first started the movie, I didn't know what the rating was. I was like, is this gonna be some PG-13 shit? But then when HBO Max started, on the top it goes R. I'm like, let's fucking go, And I knew it was James Gunn, because he used to be a trauma film director, right? So he just went all out, man. Like he didn't stop with that. And like Chris said, I love the beginning where it's like all these motherfuckers died, all of them. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, where are we going with this? Like, you got two people left, and then you see the beach going. It's like, oh, we're following these guys. I see what you did here. I thought the writing was really clever. And Dane, I know you got confused. I wasn't. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you guys do. This is great. It was. I love the way all the pieces just fit together and stuff. Even if you were kind of confused about something, like there was one part later on where I was like, wait, when the fuck did the bombs go off? What's going on here? But I let it slide. But then we go back. I'm like, oh, okay. It's so genius the way it was done, But the big surprise for me, and this was a highlight too, the characters. I was not expecting to give a fuck about any of these characters. Like Chris said, they're F-list. I don't even know most of these characters. I'm the comic guy. I'm like, what the fuck is Polka Dot Man and fake Captain America John Cena? I'm like, who are these characters? Idris Elba. By the way, I'm gonna name most of these characters by the actors. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these people are. Was it Bloodsport? Like, I don't know who the hell that is. Rat Girl. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like the only characters I knew was Rick Flag, King Shark, Harley Quinn, and Starro, the Star Conqueror. That's about it. Like, and Captain Boomerang. I was surprised they killed his ass off real quick in the beginning. I was like, whoa, okay, we ain't playing right now. Michael Rooker was in there, my man, because James Gunn had to get him in there. And am I wrong about this? Ratcatcher, that's her name, right? Ratcatcher. Her father's the director of Thor, isn't he?
Yeah,
Taika
Waititi. Taika
Yeah.
Waititi.
I have to say because I don't know how to pronounce my man's name, so I'm like, hold on, isn't that the dude? Because I remember seeing him and Valkyrie, another woman, like all three of them are kissing and shit. I'm like, I recognize this dude's face, you know. Disney wasn't happy about that, by the way. I'm like, yo, I thought we're supposed to have free love here, you know. And see some of the other highlights. Yeah, again, I just love the way the show is constructed. I love the character interactions with each other, and I didn't feel there was a single instance of this movie that was wasted. Even when you're like, where are we going with this? It all plays out together. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It didn't feel that long, you know. Great stuff. So yeah, so characters and the violence and the construction of the story were like the highlights for sure. We're gonna get into some other little things. There is one thing I have a slight complaint about, but we'll get into that later. You know, but here's the thing. It's a Tony complaint, but within the context of this movie, it works. It's just something I was like, you're kind of altering my my perception of this character, but at the same time, would my perception have been altered of the other characters if I knew them? Because again, I only knew like I could count the characters I had, you know, I knew in this movie and like have fingers left. I'm like, I don't know most of these characters, but the main one, I'm like, I don't know about that, but it works within the context of this movie. And there's one little thing, the way, you know, it all ended, I'm like, I was expecting a little bit more, but again, other than that, it was just so good. And like you guys said, the rat catcher girl, I like the way her relationship went with Idris Elba, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially that big crucial scene, you know, where like Idris Elba, he drops through the fucking building and he sees John Cena pointing a gun at her. He's like, oh, shit's about to pop the fuck off right now. And then we had the payoff. He's like, small bullets. I'm like, let's fucking go. Great. Again, all that setup, man, it's so good. You know, James Gunn, man. All right. Anyway, so that's
yeah. No, that's what I kind of like. I liked how when they said something that you would have thought was like just a side conversation, and it ended up playing out in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So the bullet thing was really great. I have to say that I laughed from the very beginning when Weasel was dying, drowning, to the very end. It was just the way how they shot everything and the way how John Cena and Idris Elba had that competition going on. We're trying to kill people, and it was that one sequence where the guy was laying out on the table. I'm assuming like for a massage or was asleep, and he was just like, and that was it. There were so many great. I will say there was great moments. Yes,
it was like a comical version of the scene in Predator. Remember where
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh, there's a Predator scene right now. You know?
That's what it was. Only it was more comical. Like Idris Elba shoots the guy, but he doesn't shoot the guy. He shoots the fan, so it lands in the bathtub and electrocutes him while he's taking a fucking bath. Yeah, that was.
I love the way at the end of that whole sequence is they're trying to like outdo each other, and then at the end it's like, oh, all the people you kill, you shouldn't have killed them. Like you just killed a bunch of good guys, bro. You know, but Chris, I thought the same thing. As soon as I heard them, like, oh, they're gonna do a Predator scene. Like when they got behind like the bushes and stuff, they're looking at the village. I'm like, Predator.
Yeah.
You know? Absolutely. But no, I like that. I liked how even the flower scene with Harley Quinn, that was a callback to the Emancipation. Remember when she's robbing that bank and she's going crazy?
I skipped that movie because it looked terrible. I'm like, I'm not watching this shit. You know. Oh, by the way, that flower scene apparently was like in there in the script since the beginning.
Oh.
So Chris, it wasn't done to cover up the violence. It was already supposed to be there,
okay.
You know, but at the same time, it kind of made it even more violent because that's a lot of flower petals flying around. Notice that even when she left the building, you still see it back there. The flowers are still
just
falling.
It's all blood raining everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good.
Very true. But no, I liked that. I liked, you know, how we originally thought we were following this main team. Remember how there was so much outrage about Pete Davidson being cast? And like, why are you putting him in that movie? And they did press tours with literally the team, the A team. We're like, yeah, they were talking about being in the movie, and that's what everyone thought. And then they just died in like the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, is he the guy that was like the traitor and he got his face?
He was a traitor. He was a traitor. Yeah,
he was hilarious. But that's great marketing because they made people think, oh, this is the team we're gonna be following throughout the whole movie. They die within 2 minutes. That is great. And then we see, you know, King Shark and all the other guys.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it was really because like I remember Sean Gunn was sitting there doing interviews, and I'm like, you're the first one who dies in like 5 minutes. This was genius. I liked how they kind of completely confused, or it was just me confused. It was like they threw a a wrench in the whole thing. But this also kind of made me wonder whether or not that was Amanda's plan the entire time.
Well, it was, yeah.
Because she was saying, that's a distraction.
Yeah, it was her plan from the beginning. Because remember, Amanda Waller's sneaky like that. She never plays things straight. It's always like a plan within a plan within a plan. So that was really cool. It's like, okay, you guys are going to be the distraction, and then we got these other guys coming in.
Yeah, so I kind of liked how that carried over from the first suicide, because remember, she went to that room and just executed all of her employees.
Yeah.
So it kind of, that sneaky badassness kind of played over. So I thought that was really effective as well. Yeah. So I know you guys have controversies, Mr. Tony. So we can kind of go into that.
Well, I'm saving that for the end because, we always end these things like, what is your final comment? I'm saving that for the final comment. I guess I do want to talk about, again, this is just the only two slight gripes I had. I was expecting that staff that Harley had to do something else. I was expecting like some big, crazy power. But at the same time, the way they used it was good, But my main thing is, and again, this is just a pure Tony thing. I felt Starro was too goofy, right? Like in the comics, he is presented as a threat. Like I'm like, this thing is a legit threat and stuff. And this one is like just waddling around, crashing shit. But I understand that makes for a better visual because in the comics he floats. He doesn't, walk. He floats through the air, right? So him kind of, because it's a goofy walk. You know what I'm saying? It looks kind of silly, but at the same time, visually it looks better. And this movie's supposed to be goofy anyway, so I had to let it slide. But that was my only thing. But other than that, I thought it was good. And it was kind of interesting to change because in the comics, if you're like, you have a Starro stuck on your face and stuff, if you defeat the main Starro or knock him out, whatever, the star falls off and you're fine. But this one, the instant it gets on your face, you're dead, So I guess they also gave him an excuse to just go ham and kill everybody, But that was good. And I did like the, going back to things I did like the twist because you had the one Spanish dude, he was the ruler of the country. And then, Harley Quinn kills him because she's like, oh, he's just a red flag, because he was about killing kids and shit, and then you got the old school general, he takes over and he's even more brutal, so that was pretty cool. The island they were on, it was from The Dark Knight Returns. That's where I remember it from. It was the island where Reagan sends Superman to stop the communists or whatever, the Soviet Union. But then these motherfuckers throw a nuke at Superman. And then Superman gets all like skinny and shit. So that's from the Dark Knight Returns comic. I don't know if that was in the cartoon. I know they adapted the cartoon, that book into a cartoon, but I don't know if that was in there or not. But that was, what's the name of it? I want to say Santa Prisa, but that's where Bane is from.
That's right. Yeah, that's Bane.
But you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like Cordo Maltese.
Cordo Maltese. Remember, there's a joke. Carly was like, "What do we call these people?" It's like, Cordo Maltese, and it's like,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. See what other highlights. Again, I like the bar scene where they were all just kind of chilling and stuff. You see them all kind of mailing each other. Meanwhile, like in King Shark, she's like, oh, what am I gonna do here? Because he was trying to play it off like I could just wear a mustache. Like, bro, look at the rest of you, man. Actually, we could talk about that real quick. What do you guys think of King Shark? Dana's name right now, because he was. When I first saw him, like in the promotion, I'm like, here's James Gunn. He's got to have his CG characters, because like remember in Guardians of the Galaxy, you had Rocket Raccoon and Groot. I'm like, okay, so you have King Shark and a rat. Those were the main ones. Like you had the Weasel and stuff, but he wasn't really in there. But yeah, the main two CG characters were King Shark and a rat. But King Shark was interesting because in the comics, again, he's like a menacing type of character, very calculating and smart. He's a retard in this phase, like blah, 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 But again, you also felt for him too. And there's that cool scene with him with the pool and stuff with those, I guess, alien fish. That part, I was like, what was going on with this shit? But what do you guys think of King Shark?
Well, see, King Shark was more closely related to the Harley Quinn series, the cartoon.
Okay.
So he kind of like talks like that.
Oh.
No, but in the cartoon, he's smarter. He's also a criminal.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a criminal.
He's hanging around criminals.
Old, like, yeah.
Only because he's hanging around them.
Yeah, but he's like a crime boss. He's not stupid in the
I mean, I haven't seen the cartoon, but I'm just based off the comics. He's smart.
Yeah, and in this one they also refer to him as a like a Hawaiian god or
God,
the
yeah.
like something like that. So I know that's one origin of King Shark. Like there's been multiple like versions of him. That's one of them.
Yeah.
I liked him. At
Like he
first, I
worked
was
in this
confused.
context. I was just thrown off because again, King Shark's supposed to be smart, but I was thrown off. But it worked again.
Yeah.
Like Starro, it worked in this context, so I ultimately don't have a problem. And again, like every character, they all came through in some way in the end.
But I mean, it was very formulaically like Guardians over again. I mean, he's just Groot. It's just
he is,
like
yeah.
he talks slow and dumb, and he's the big CG character. And then you can debate whether Peacemaker or Bloodsport is Star-Lord. I would say Peacemaker is Drax, and
Yeah.
you know, Idris
Really?
Elba is Star-Lord. Yeah, because Peacemaker is like, he's very direct. He's like,
Yeah.
I would do anything to obtain peace. I'll kill women and children. Like he doesn't give a shit. So I'm like, okay, he's the Drax. And I don't know. I was trying to figure out where Polka Dot Man fit in.
I don't know what character he would be, but I mean, they're not all one for one. Like you could say Harley is Gamera, but she also isn't.
She also isn't, yeah,
because she's fucking crazy.
But you could say that Polka Dot Man is kind of like Nebula.
How so?
Well, remember the whole Nebula thing with the father?
I guess.
And then you have the whole situation with the mother.
Yeah, I could see that. Although he Nebula's way more tough and like determined, and he's very timid. He's very shy, and
he's so sweet.
I love it. Like he swole up in the middle of the night. He had all the polka dots on him, and they're all like freaking out. Like, yo, is that contagious? Like, what's going on with your face?
Yeah, like, yo, what's up with your face? John Cena comes out in tighty whities. That was hilarious. Like, supposed to be as bad as wearing little kid underwear and shit,
At least they were clean.
At least they were clean. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because
no streaks in there.
The characters were just great in this. I really liked the way they all came together. But yeah, going back to Polka Dot Man, at the end I was like, because I saw it coming. He's like think of that as your mother. I'm like, are they gonna have a big CG woman? Yes, they did have a big.
They
CG
did.
Woman.
It's like it's your mom, and he just sees her like a giant.
Yeah, but like, his power is kind of scary too. Like that thing just rips into people. It's like, bruh, the aftermath, and even cut off one of Starro's legs. Like I'm like, this guy's goofy. He's like not sure of himself, lacks self-esteem, but man, that power is crazy.
Well, there was even that nightclub scene where he's like dancing and they're all his mother.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
And remember when he's in the woods, they all when she was like, so where's your mother now? And she's like, all around. And it was all his mother. Even King Shark was his mother.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So for me, my standout character would have been God, it was so many of them. I think it were all
a lot of them. Yeah, exactly.
Because they just work together and they balance each other so well. But as everyone was kind of saying, Polka Dot Man, just because everything that he was going through and the fact that they just kept that as like the storyline throughout, I kind of really wanted his backstory more about what exactly was going on in Star Labs. So you had that. I don't feel as passionate as people do about John Cena's Peacemaker.
What are people saying about him?
Oh, that he's amazing. That they're waiting for the TV series that's coming out. He got his own series with Peacemaker series, and I'm just like, he was good, but it wasn't really a standout.
Yeah, I liked him. Don't get me wrong, but there's something special about him. I like Idris Elba better.
Yeah.
I think I know why people said that. Because for those of us that know John Cena and his wrestling persona, this guy has always been a face. So to see him tease that he's actually evil in any capacity, that's going to get people to talk.
But is he evil? Like if they would have shown him killing kids, then it would be like,
he's definitely conflicted because you could tell when he killed Rick Flag, you could see the conflict in him. That was actually pretty good acting. I was surprised, like this dumbass wrestler.
I think that's the best acting he's ever done in his life was in this movie.
I was surprised because I've never seen this guy. I don't follow wrestling. I've never seen this guy's movies, but I'm like, because I expected a dumb wrestler. I'm like, this guy's actually not bad. Like you could see the conflict in his eyes when he killed Rick Flag. Like he was conflicted, but at the same time, he's like, I got to do my mission here. But so he was actually pretty good. But I didn't know they were gonna. I don't know if I watch a whole show with this guy though. But he was good, but Dane, I'm kind of like, I thought he was good, but he's not like, oh my god, I think it's just wrestling fans getting hyped,
Probably. But yeah, I would have to probably also go with Idris Elba, Bloodsport.
Yeah.
It was such a big come ups from the Will Smith. I forgot what even character Will Smith was.
Deadshot.
Yeah. But just it felt like he actually had purpose, and it felt like he was someone that you take seriously. And that whole sequence with him and his daughter in the prison, the jail cell thing,
that's pretty intense.
That was intense, and all it was just them yelling at each other. But you got an entire backstory.
Yeah, and it's funny because he is like Deadshot too. Remember, Deadshot had the whole thing with his daughter. So it's the same. It's just kind of interesting. You have three characters that are kind of the same. Deadshot, Bloodsport, and whatever the fuck John Cena's character was like. But so it's kind of interesting how like Idris Elba filled in that role. But he's a better actor than Will Smith, though. So he takes it to the next level. I like Will Smith. Come on now, Idris Elba's a way better actor. I agree with that. Like, that sequence again. It was like a minute just in the jail. Fucking great. And the girl was good too, because sometimes kid actors are kind of whack and shit, but she was good too. And then you had the payoff at the end. It's like, oh, that's my father. It was great. Yeah, it was good stuff. But even though it's like, okay, this is this version of Deadshot, but just better done.
Yeah. So that would have been like the main standout characters for me. Anyone else?
Yeah. What other characters? They had those throwaway characters in the beginning. Was it the detachable kid and shit? I don't even know these fucking characters.
Evelyn.
The arm thing.
Yeah, I was surprised the Mongol girl got killed fast. Like she's supposed to be a fucking powerful ass alien.
Yeah, the helicopter just killed her.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering why she would do that if she thought she was gonna die. Like she just jumps up and grabs the helicopter and then kills Captain Boomerang. She dies from it. I'm like, that was profoundly stupid.
Yeah,
if you thought, especially if you were like, hey, I'm not gonna survive this. Like you're already getting shot at. Why would you go do that? But she did it, and it's still.
Yeah, so movie's supposed to be silly, but it's like if you're Mongol's daughter, you should be a little bit more resilient than that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she's Mongol's daughter, Mongal as they call her. But I didn't know who she was because from the promotions, just because she was wearing purple and she was orange, I thought she was a Tamaranian, like Starfire, right? But I'm like, okay, she's a Mongolian or where the fuck they are, whatever Mongols race is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it was just silly. And then what's some of the other characters they had? They had the dude who got his face blown off.
Blackguard. I don't know who he was.
What? Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
Blackguard.
Yeah, but
I know the name, but I don't know the character. I don't know what.
Blackguard.
No,
what does he do?
I don't know that character.
Yeah, we don't know what he does.
I'm like, his name's Blackguard.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I do not know the character, his origins. I've never read anything with him. That's what I'm like. Who is the? Again, I'm reading. I'm like, who are these people? Because I'm not as familiar with like DC's super B-list or D-list characters I'm with Marvel. Like Marvel, you could throw the F-list guys. I'll know them. But these I'm like, oh, who the fuck is that? Go ahead, Rich. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say his power is he turns on everybody.
Yeah, I guess. That's and then there was the German dude, with the staff. Like he was like, you have these staff. I think it was German. I don't know what the fuck he was. Harley Quinn was like, oh, I like your accent.
Oh yeah, we never knew what the javelin did. He was like, you have to take these. You have to.
Yeah. He died. I like that she looked all emotional and then she slapped him. Like, what do you want me to do with this?
I keep forgetting that she puts on like a fake like Brooklyn accent, because Harley is from Brooklyn, so she's supposed to talk like that. Mr. J. I'm glad we didn't have any Jared Leto bullshit in this movie.
I think we're permanently done with that. Done.
Yeah, and then like you guys said, the special effects were really good. They served a purpose. Everything looked great. The only one was Starro at the end. It was a little weird, but at the same time, it's like, let it go, whatever. It's supposed to
I wish we got more from Thinker.
What's up? Yeah, from who? Thinker? Yeah. Peter Capaldi. Yeah.
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, Rich. Go ahead, bro.
The comment Tony made about serve the purpose, and that goes back to why I love this movie, because the rat catcher character.
Yes.
When she had that whole dialogue with her dad about, and then the dad is talking about, even the simplest of person can make a purpose. That's why I was so glad what they did with that character, because even I recall she had the dialogue back and forth with Idris Elba talking about, he told you, yeah, I'm going to get you out of here. She said, no, I'm going to get you out of here. And that's exactly how it played out in the storyline, where hers was the character that ultimately took down Starro. I thought that was excellent.
And they did, because he saved her from Peacemaker. Like when he landed from the roof, he just slammed through the floors, and then he saw what he was gonna do. He shot through his bullet, which was kind of cool. I like that slow mo shot. Yeah, he shot him.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, because like if you just look at it just at the end, like you would say, oh, the Rat Girl and Harley Quinn were the ones that defeated Starro. But if you go back, but the Rat Girl wouldn't have been able to do nothing if it wasn't for Idris Elba saving her. So yeah, it all just ties in together, man. Again, the more I think about it, man, it's the very well done constructed movie, man. It's just all the pieces all come together. There was this one part, Milton.
Or Milton, the bus driver.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm glad you gave him a name, because the whole time I didn't know what his name was. I kept calling him Julio, the whole time. Oh, my man Julio, they got you, son, they got you. But then that scene is like, oh no, Milton. And Early's like, Milton. And then it's like, I'm like, are you making him up? And then she was like, oh, this guy.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And then she forgets later, and she calls Idris Elba Milton. It's like, that's not my name. It's like, no, we had a whole conversation. You're Milton.
Milton, that was funny, man. What else was going on? Yeah, the whole sequence of Harley Quinn, because again, they had like, oh, we got to go rescue. We got to mount this whole thing. Then she just shows up. That was a great sequence. She just went ham, fucking cutting dudes, just going crazy. Again, because I think Margot Robbie's a really good Harley Quinn, so it's good to see her in a good movie. Finally, and then her costume in this movie was literally a dress, like a frilly dress.
Yeah.
But it worked. That was really good. I like that. And it was kind of fun to like, hey, Harley Quinn is the only character that got laid in this movie.
But that was so random. It was like they caught her and then like, look, you're to be the bride.
Yeah.
It was like,
and she went with it. She's like, okay.
She's like, sure.
Yeah. But again, you get excused that because Harley's crazy. So, it kind of works. And it also goes to her character. You see the kind of men she's drawn to, these horrible dudes. But she recognized, like, oh shit, hold on, bam. And then I like the part she's like, this thing had a bullet? Because she got that from like the weapon rack after he smashed. I know she smashed him into it. Very rough sex there. She was
in control of that.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was a really great moment there. And there was just, I wish that we could have gotten a little bit of more of Michael Rourke, because I love him so much, and they did him so dirty in Guardians 2.
Well, he didn't even fight. He just stayed on the beach, and he looked at all the shit. And he got back in the water. He found the board from Titanic that Leonardo DiCaprio fell off, and he tried to paddle his way out of there.
That was good. But Chris, this goes back to your whole thing. Show, don't tell. They showed you what the fuck happens when you disobey Amanda Waller. Bam!
Oh yeah.
But by the way, Chris, I just thought about this. The only thing he did was kill a fucking bird. That's all he did in the movie. Yeah. And then you see that same species of bird come start eating him. Great.
Well, what was the obsession with birds? Because remember, they burnt down that whole bird cage thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing because it's like a tropical island and shit. They gotta have birds.
Like, where the birds?
Oh, I think it was also significant because the general took over, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck these birds." He just killed them.
Yeah,
he burnt them. He didn't even waste time.
It roasted them.
Screaming.
What's his face? His character from Iron Man 2. He wouldn't be happy in this one. Seeing all those birds. Like, give me the
bird.
Yeah, Whiplash, right? What's his name?
Whiplash,
like, yeah, he would not be happy seeing all those birds die. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else that I liked about this movie. Again, I felt it was very clear. Like, okay, here's our objective. We got to go to Jotunheim and take out Starro. But then you had all these other side adventures. But all those side adventures, again, they all culminated into the final, the big finale and stuff. Which I thought was very well done.
I do like that. He's very good at show don't tell, because he showed that King Shark is basically bulletproof, right? So when Idris Elba wakes up and he sees he's about to eat Ratcatcher, he's about to bite her head, and then he just pulls out his gun and just starts blasting him. And you think, oh shit, he's going to kill King Shark. Like, he just keeps shooting him until he's pinned against a tree, and you realize he has no bullet holes, nothing. He just knocks him back. That's all.
Yeah, it wasn't like he had super healers, the bullets don't penetrate. But again, I'm glad you bring it up because it showed. Like, I love how they cleverly sidestep. It's like, how are we going to complete our mission with this dude trying to eat us? And then homegirl's like, hey, would you eat your friends? Like, no, we're your friends. Like, you can't eat us. Like, I'm not going to eat you. I'm like, that's great. That's a great way of avoiding that. Because, right, it's like you have this hungry ass shark. You know, he has a penchant for human meat, as they already said. And as you saw, he's like, num, 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 num. Like, no, right now. You know, but it was kind of like the Hulk, like Hulk smash. You're like, hey, you see that? Num, num. Go.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, how's he gonna eat all that? You know, but he tried. My man tried, you know. So that was really good. Again, just clever, just showing you, like, again, showing you about the characters that are telling you, like some of these other shows we've been watching lately, you know. Just saying.
And I thought Sylvester Stallone did just a really great job of voicing.
That was him, right? That's right.
That was him.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that slowness was him.
That was crazy. There's something else I want to say about it, like again, just like a little thing that just brings up later. But yeah, the King Shark thing was just so well done, because it's like, again, they could have handled him more clumsily, but it's like you establish two things, like, all right, bulletproof, and he wants friends. So you give him friends, you're all right. You know?
One scene I thought was also well done was when they got arrested. Remember, they gave up in the bar to let the Thinker get away. And then they're in the truck with the soldiers, and they're talking to them, and then they offer Idris Elba a cigarette, and he takes it, and he starts talking about like a death blow or something like that. He says it in different languages, and it's like, no, there's no, you can't do that. You can't kill a man with one hit, and they all do it. They all just fucking die.
But see, that just shows how what's that word? No, cohesive the group is, because not to compare, but in the first Suicide Squad, remember, everyone was kind of all over the place.
They were just doing their own thing.
These guys were definitely more. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because, like, the characters in the first Suicide Squad movie were, you know, objectively more powerful than these guys. These guys were coordinated, and they used their limited skills more effectively. They really did. Yeah. You know, like, remember, it's like, oh, we got to storm this place. What are you going to do about the cameras? I got them. You know, you see the rats eating them and shit, you know. And again, it was cool about the rats because, like, every city, rats everywhere. So use them to her advantage, you know. Yeah.
And I love the fact that Bloodsport, his weakness was a rat.
The rat, yeah. And then at the end, my man got over it. You know, he's petting the rat because the rat liked him. The rat liked him the whole time. He just wanted to be a friend, you know.
The rat really had a whole personality.
Yeah, he did.
He was waving at people, getting drunk at the bar.
That lady lost her whole, like, squad. And he's like, is that rat waving at me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he appears to be waving at you. Why? He's friendly.
Yeah, he's friendly. He's a friendly rat, you know. I like how he had a little vest, so you knew who it was, you know.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really done very well. Any other thoughts, Mr. Richard? You've been silent there.
Oh no, I mean, I'm just listening again, getting reminded of everything that was awesome about the movie. I enjoyed everything. And I also didn't know that Sylvester Stallone was King Shark until you mentioned it on this podcast. So that's very interesting.
I'm going to say this because I keep forgetting this. I like the kind of reversal, but you kind of saw it coming where Peter Capaldi's like, you realize this is America's fault, right? And it goes to show, because it's true. Like, America has fucked with the Caribbean. I know this is not Caribbean, but it's the same kind of deal with the Caribbeans and the South Americans for a long time. So the shit that you saw here was, like, in line with it. It's like, okay, we have this experiment with Starro, but we're gonna test it out in this shitty ass country. If something goes wrong, whatever, you know. And then by the end, even Amanda Waller's like, that's not our problem. That was kind of crazy, because I was like, it is your problem. That's the whole entire planet's problem, you know, if that shit gets out. But it goes to show you kind of like the corruption that's within America, and like us kind of not giving a shit about some of these like shitty countries. You know what I'm saying? Even me calling them shitty countries shows you my American mentality. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm from one of these countries, you know, but then I can probably get away because they are kind of shitty countries, you know. But it goes to show how fucked up it is that Americans would take advantage of those type of situations. And I will say this, since we're talking about that, I like the fact, because I know some people could have been like, oh, they're in a southern country. Why are there so many different types of ethnicities there? That's actually accurate. It's actually accurate. If you go to any of these countries, there's a lot of dark skinned people. There's Asian people there. We're from all over the place. So that was very well done. And again, it wasn't a thing that they had to tell you. They just showed it to you. You know, so well done. I'm like, yeah, that diversity, that's accurate as fuck. You know, and I thought that was great. You know,
well, you made a good point because I was wondering when and near the end when Waller ordered them out of there, and it's like, oh, Starro's their problem. It's like, wait, whoa. There's a giant alien kaiju that shoots up. How do you think this is not going to get back to America? Like, what is the thinking here? She didn't order them to stop it. She's just like, no, you're done. We're fine.
Yeah, that was one thing I'm like about the plot. I'm like, wait, what? How do you like? I know they're on an island and this Starro can't fly, but like
he can swim.
He could swim. He's a
well.
fish.
Also, all the other all the Starro zombies could get off. You know.
Yeah,
the little ones could.
Yeah, so that I think that was a plot hole to an extent. It's like, Amanda, like I understand where you're coming from, but it's like, and I also liked, even though I would have wished we would have seen more fallout, like her people turned against her, rightfully, by the way. I think rightfully turned against her.
That was unexpected.
Yeah,
because she was about to kill all of them, and then somebody hit her in the head with a pipe.
Yeah, no, with her own golf clubs.
Remember, with a golf club,
Again, tying it all back together. And I also liked how, because that's always the thing. It's like, Amanda Waller has control over Task Force X with the bombs, and they cleverly sidestepped that. It's like, listen, you blow these bombs up in our head, this secret's getting out. So it's like, okay, you're free now. Brilliant, you know? Because again, Amanda Waller, she is very difficult to outmaneuver, you know, because she's like 5 steps ahead of you. So it was so cool seeing Idris Elba outdo her. It was great, you know? That was so good, because it's like, how are they going to be? Because they are the good guys here. So how do you get them free in the end? It's like, that's how, because the secret will be out there, you know? So that was really well done too.
I like he set up the conundrum with like Harley saying, "Hey, Rick Flag died so we could get the secret out," and Idris Elba was like, "We have to compromise here, otherwise we're dead, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to do this." And he's like, "He's my friend too, but we don't have a choice here."
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. And he found the way. And I like how he had the connection to Rick Flag as well, you know, which may have helped him in his decision. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to get out of this.
Yeah, that was really smart. But then I wonder if Amanda is a psychopath with power, or is she just really dedicated to the mission?
I think
who is her boss?
Yeah, she's dedicated. Yeah. She's also very vicious, because remember I like the scene. The guy asked her, like, "Oh, would you really put his daughter in prison?" And she's like, "Oh, I would do a lot worse." Like, she's a vicious person, you know?
I think her boss is the president, basically. And I think the president's like, do what you're going to do, you know? Amanda, she wields a lot of power, but I don't think she's a psychopath. I think she does what she honestly believes is the, like, correct thing to do. And, you know, I guess the only way I can say, I'm like, you kind of need people like that. You know, people who really get their hands dirty, and Amanda Waller is a good person to have in that position, because she's just so cunning, you know. And Viola Davis, right? That's who plays her.
Yes.
Great fucking actress. You know, like you see so much of Amanda Waller, even when she's just standing there with, like, not saying nothing. You know, the eyes, so good. And I'm so glad they got her back. You know, because they could have gotten another actress. Like, no, get her back. You know. Because I know in like the CW shows, they had this like hot Amanda Waller and shit, and it's like I never really convinced, like, you know, it's like you got to remove all that, like, even just make it, you know, because she's like just a plain looking woman. That's the way it should be. But you see that calculatingness. I know that's not a real word, but like you see that shit in her eyes, man. It's so good. And I hope James Gunn gets another shot at this and brings some of these characters back.
Well, yeah, that was, remember he said that the goal is to have multiple sequels and to have multiple spinoffs.
Yeah.
So maybe even the characters who are dead will get their, I don't know, a prequel show.
Yeah. Weasel, let's go.
Oh man, he's creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. I'm like, yo, shoot that thing. That was literally, shoot that fucking thing. Look at it's like a stray dog. Shoot it. Remember, that was the thing. Like, is that thing a dog? It's like, you ever seen a dog that looks like that? And then when Harley's like, oh, it's a werewolf, and then it's like,
he freaked out. Yo, you put me next to a werewolf? Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was a really great sequence, and yeah, they just had a lot of really great moments.
Yo, I'm getting hyped. I want to see this shit again now after this. I'm getting hyped. The movie was so much fun.
It was. I can admit that It was fun, despite me not knowing what was really going on at first.
But it's not that complicated, though. It's a
no, it's not that complicated. It's just, you know, in your mind how you have one way how you think it's going to go. Yeah, and especially with DC, you kind of think it's going to go one way.
See, I didn't know. I was like, let's go for the ride. Let's see what happens. So maybe that's what helped, you know?
Yeah, that could help immensely. Yeah. But, you know, DC, so you're automatically going to think this is not going to make any sense. It's going to be terrible. First of all, I'm not going to be able to see anything.
No shit.
And you have James Gunn. And James Gunn, we know that he's a really great storyteller. But he's not always that great because Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'm sorry, was terrible. So it was I didn't know what to expect. And then John Cena, yes, he's a good actor, but I didn't know what he was going to bring. And I kind of thought that he would be like a complete kind of psychopath, but he kind of really wasn't. He kind of played up the comedic element.
Yeah.
So it just really threw me. But I'm not saying that this was a terrible movie. Remember, I had to like watch it multiple times to really get in. But it was hilarious from beginning to beginning.
Really funny.
Yes. So were there any other either characters that you really loved or standout moments that you would love to see again?
No, I mean, I don't think I have much. I mean, there's my controversy at the end of this episode, but other than that, no, I thought that the movie was just great. No, but I'm going to say it right now because I want you guys' take on this.
Okay.
And this is something I almost tweeted, but I didn't do it because I know for a fact I'm going to get heat for this, especially from the MCU fanboys. I'm saying it right now. This movie is James Gunn's best movie. Yes, this is better than Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm going to explain why. Because this is James Gunn unfiltered. This was not pacified like Guardians was. This wasn't Disneyified. This was just raw James Gunn. DC said, yo, you could tell DC said, yo, do your thing, bro. Do your thing. We're not touching this. You know, and because with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, right? Dana, I don't hate the second one, but it was a disappointment, right? I'm not going to go that far, but it was but the thing is, I feel the goofiness of this movie works better than it did in Guardians. Guardians, it felt too forced. Like it was like, oh, we got to do this by the numbers. Like this one, it all worked seamlessly together, and the violence was part of it as well. You know, you couldn't, this type of movie you will never see in MCU. You will not. Maybe they'll surprise me with Deadpool, but I think that Deadpool movie is going to be sanitized too. You know, I'm just going to throw that out there, at least compared to the first two movies. But this was like the perfect, like, again, like for lack of a better term, you could tell this was James Gunn's vision, unmarred, you know, by any studio bullshit. So this is why I believe this movie is what he wanted to do with Guardians, just to its fullest extent, with no like restrictions, you know. And you guys in here know for a fact, if I say that on Twitter, motherfuckers will go crazy.
No, I don't think so. I completely agree with you. This was a very unfiltered.
So yeah, better than Guardians of the Galaxy, and I like me some Guardians of the Galaxy, but this was on a whole, like, again, this is James Gunn's true vision, and yes, it is the best DCEU movie so far. I know that's not saying a lot because it's been kind of trash, you know. Because again, the only one I really liked, I liked Man of Steel, I like Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, and I like Shazam. I like Aquaman too. Aquaman's just, you know.
You cried during Aquaman.
Yeah, no, I didn't cry, but it was like, this is good. But for a specific reason. But those movies each had something I could nitpick. Not Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was pretty good, the first one. But this one, like, yo, this is, again, you could tell it's an artistic vision. We don't get a lot of that in Hollywood, especially big AAA movies. Like, you could tell all this was from one mind, and then obviously everybody, you know, helped make it come along. It didn't feel like it was a movie done by committee, like a lot of Marvel movies are feeling lately, you know. So yeah, fantastic movie, man. It's great.
Very true. Yeah, that wasn't very controversial.
Trust me, if I tweet this out, it will be controversial. Those MCU fans are crazy.
Richard?
You should have seen when I talked about Loki. I don't get it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know.
You're just saying it's not controversial because you agree with me. That's why.
I agree with you. Yep. Richard?
No, go ahead. I'll go after you.
No. I was just saying that I completely agree with you. It felt like it was a refreshing new vision.
Yes, very refreshing. You know, again, the last time I saw a superhero movie like this was the Deadpool. That was the last time I saw it. Like, you could just tell they just like, yo, do your thing, bro. You know, and I feel it would be nice if we got more of that in a lot of these superhero movies, where you just like, all right, here's the director, who understands the at least not. I'm not going to say you got to be true to the source material, but at least the soul of it, And I think this worked for sure because Suicide Squad in the comics has been serious, has always been goofy too, and he played up that aspect of it. But it's a pure James Gunn movie, and I think that's what made it work.
Well, he's here to stay at DC. He got one more movie, and then
keep it going.
done.
Keep it going. But I'm going to say this though, because I know he's doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's going to be disappointing after this movie because I know that movie will. But you know what I'm saying? Like that movie will not be as good as this. It can't because it can't be.
Maybe Marvel will see what he can actually do, and then they'll be like,
Marvel says make it rated R movie,
the new phase.
Not going to do.
Marvel is not going to do that. I also make a comment and say I agree 100% with what Tony said. Because of it's his vision, the R rating, the dark humor, the violence. This was excellent, and you could tell they just gave him the ball and let him roll with it. So I appreciate the hell out of that for sure. We definitely will not see that in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Nope.
And I'm pretty sure that people will not think that's controversial because Disney has been doing a lot of moves as of late that people have been thinking have been rather controversial. So they already have some people against them. But yeah, I agree 100% what you said about that.
Chris?
Okay. Chris?
I agree with what was said for the most part. I think the movie might have been a tad too long. I just thought the scene with Harley Quinn and the president probably could have been cut down a little bit. And there's some other things that could have been cut down, but overall, everything else was great. The characters were so well done. I don't know how he does it, but characters you would not normally not care about, or you're like, how would these guys work together? And he pulls it off. So that was fantastic. I don't know when these sequels are going to happen because I thought Disney had him locked up for Guardians 3, and they announced that there was going to be a Guardians Christmas special. So and then he's directing that too. So I don't know if this guy's going to have time to come back and do another Suicide Squad or a spin-off movie.
That's actually what my question was going to be. Is it confirmed that he already has another Warner Brothers movie that he's involved in?
Well, they said that they're doing multiple spin-offs. He said it in an interview.
Yeah.
That the goal is multiple spin-offs and we will get sequels.
Well, and
I Wilson Harmata was very happy.
I do agree. This will probably hurt the future Guardians movies, and I agree with Tony and Rich because like you said, the Disney movies are by committee now. Phase 4 is I don't know, it's just weak overall. So I don't expect anything good from these next movies, even though he's working on them, because it seems like Disney wants them done a certain way, and then to pull him back to PG-13 and toilet humor when you have just had this, like, it's I don't know, it's just gonna seem really, really bad. I like the Guardians movies, but I don't think you could do another one once you have this. Once people see this, it's like why can't they do that? And Disney's not going to do that. They don't have the balls to make this kind of movie. They just don't.
I'm very curious to see what this Deadpool movie is going to be with Disney's involvement.
It's going to be like that. What did they took the Deadpool like Christmas? What was it? Once Upon a Deadpool. It's going to be like that. Remember that the Santa as Deadpool? Yeah, it's going to be like that.
Sheesh. Terrible. But yeah. So is there any other final thoughts you guys have on the Suicide of the Squad?
No, it was great. Give me another one.
I really didn't have much critiques on it. There it was. I thought everything, even if there was like tiny pacing problems, it was just overwhelmed by the story and the characters, and the action was fantastic. I mean, that was one thing. So when they get to Jotunheim and that shit is falling down, I'm like, this is just one building falling down, and it was exciting. That whole thing was exciting, right?
Yeah.
I want to go back to Rise of Loki. It's like, see this one building falling down? You had a planet collapsing, and that shit was boring.
Boring
You have
as fuck.
failed. Yeah, it's boring as shit. Like, this should have been like
Oh,
this,
God.
you know? So, yeah, I mean, it succeeds, and I think people are going to look at this, and people, like, not just fanboys, people measure comic book movies against comic book movies. Now this has raised the bar, not, you know, for him and everything else. Like, so people are going to want more excitement. It's like, how come Warner Brothers can make this action-packed comic book movie with like F-list characters and have it be great? And then I'm thinking back to like Black Widow, and it's like, with the movie that was 5 years too late with an Avenger,
Yeah.
and that was
Mhm.
weak.
That
You
was
know?
weak sauce. Yes, I completely agree. So, really quickly, for those who don't know about the Peacemaker series, it's already done with filming. So, yay, no delays on that one. It will be 8 episodes long. All of them have been written by James Gunn. So, expect more craziness
Okay.
from that. He is also directing episodes 1 through 3 and 6 and 8. So, that
Damn,
big
my man's
finality.
busy.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
busy. He's
I
also
gotta,
on.
I gotta ask a question. Is he gonna talk with like a voice box? Like, how's that gonna work
Yeah, because he
after?
has a
Oh
bullet
yeah,
hole.
he
Yeah.
got a bullet in his.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Well,
know
it will-
they had the
it's a-
post credit scene, but he's not even conscious in there. He's not.
I could be wrong. I think the Sirius is the origin of the character, right?
Oh, okay. It's not after the movies, before. Okay,
I don't know. They didn't
that would
even
make sense.
release
That would make
information about
sense.
that. But yeah, I wouldn't. That would be something to expect. Oh, and also really quickly about the after credits. There are 2 people who are alive. We already touched on Peacemaker. Weasel. He can come.
Back, yeah. There you go.
I love that he just
Let's go.
walks off on the island, and that's it. That's all you see. He just gets up and walks away. That's his ending.
That's his ending. No one even thought to detonate the bomb or anything. That was it. Done and over with.
Oh,
So,
I did have, thank you for reminding me. Did
Mhm.
Harley Quinn have an implant? Because I
Yeah.
didn't see her on the board. And how come
Oh,
Waller
really?
didn't track her when she got captured?
Interesting. I don't remember that. I have to rewatch
Yeah.
that then.
Okay, so remember when Flag gets captured and she immediately contacts Bloodsport and those guys, and
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you have a change of plans. You have to go rescue Rick Flag. And they ask, it's like, wait, there was another team here? And they go, that's when they bust in the camp. Because she tells them to go because she's tracking him. But I'm like, when Harley Quinn gets captured and gets right next to the president, she doesn't radio her and go, oh, that's interesting. I know they said there were signal jammers, but they were still able to talk somehow in the town. But so I
Yeah.
chalked it up to that, but I didn't see Harley on the board, on Waller's board, where she had everybody's like bomb, to detonate.
That is true. I never thought of that. So, then why was she there? Would be the real question if she
That
wasn't
was just
forced to.
that was just a small thing. I also, I know it was like dramatic to make her jump into Starro's eyeball and poke it with the javelin, but then
Mhm.
I thought, like, that's the only reason you were there, was to poke his eyeball. You really didn't have anything to do in that scene except to stab him in the eye.
Yeah.
She assassinated a whole president.
Well, she did that. That was way earlier. She killed that dude. Like, he was dead for 2/3 of the movie. I was like, shit. Well, there goes that. She just won. She just did the rebels' job for them. She just killed this dude.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that I never thought of that. But yeah, that we have to watch again because I didn't really think of her not having the bomb. Yeah, and it's true. She never contacted anyone when she was there. But the whole thing, even with Flag didn't contact, and say I'm with this group. Did he?
No, but
No.
Waller knew where he was and said, hey, he got
Um,
captured and you have to go rescue him. She sent them to rescue him.
That is true.
But she did not order them to go get Harley Quinn back. It was Rick Flag
It
who
was Rick
said,
Flag.
oh, and he only found out because of the soldiers. Remember, they said, oh, we're
Right.
going to torture
Yeah.
you like we tortured Harley Quinn, and that's how you knew she was alive.
Very interesting. Never thought of that one. But yeah, any other final thoughts? Good,
No,
bad,
go watch
ugly?
it. Go watch the movie. It's awesome.
I definitely recommend it. It was very good.
Definitely worth checking out.
Although it is weird us telling people to go watch the movie after they watch this whole spoiler alert.
We'll watch it again.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah, watch it again.
Watch
There
it
you
again.
go. There you go. Watch it again.
Watch it again. Go see it however you want to, because it was extremely fun. And Peacemaker will be coming out in January.
Mm-hmm.
So that's around the corner, technically. We only got 4 more months in this year. So.
Also, one other small thing. What happened to the lady who hit Amanda Waller with the golf club?
Yeah, I don't know.
You never see her again.
No,
It's like, did
she got executed?
Yeah, I was like, did she get fucking executed after that?
Yeah, maybe a bunch of them got killed. Who knows?
No, but the big dude, the bearded guy, and the other lady were in the post-credit scenes.
But maybe the others got killed. I don't know.
But they will be back. The Office people will be back in the Peacemaker series. So we'll learn about their fate, and if they're still gambling on who's gonna die.
That scene was pretty funny. That reminded me of Cabin in the Woods.
Oh,
remember they were taking bets on who like what they would summon.
That was a good one. So yeah, that seems to be everything.
Movie.
And really quickly about this. Yeah, it is a prequel, and we're gonna learn about his father. Remember they talked about it. It's Peacemaker.
Oh, okay.
So we will learn about Augie Smith, who is Peacemaker's father. So, and then remember he did a lot of mental things to Peacemaker, which is why he's kind of direct and crazy in this. So, yeah, this will be really exciting. And I'm looking at the cast, and we've got Chase Vigilante, Adrian Chase, who plays Vigilante. Is anyone aware of that character?
The name sounds familiar.
He's a district attorney and crime fighter with the power to heal from injuries.
Oh,
he was also in
characters.
He was in Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and then they have new characters that they created for the show. We have a Larry Fitzgibbon and Detective Sophie Song, who was also in the DC series, and Maggie Q is going to be in it. So this should be exciting. I look forward. We have Captain Locke. Anybody know who Captain Locke is? Does that sound familiar?
I know Spartan Locke. That's
Halo.
The Halo.
But yeah, that will seem to be really interesting. So yeah, that is everything on basically our thoughts on the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker series is coming up. So yay for this movie. And are there any final thoughts, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.?
Oh no, thank everybody for checking out the show. Stay tuned. Quite a bit of things to come this month and beyond.
Okay, Mr. Seeley.
You can catch me and Tony on Throwdown every Thursday and Sunday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
Mr. Palanca.
Yeah, as always, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun. You know, as you guys could see, if you've seen the other spoiler cast, I don't hate everything. You know?
Yeah, you really took me by surprise.
Yeah, I just hate things that are bad, you know, and this was good, so I didn't hate it. So yeah, check me out on Twitter at Romudeth, ROMUDTH. Check me out over on PC Mag and Laptop Mag, and on Throwdown with Chris and Carlos and all the other fellas. And don't get mad at me on Twitter if I say something you don't like, man. Be respectful, because I may tweet out about Suicide Squad being better than Guardians today. We'll see what happens.
Oh, snap. Hear yourself. And also, we will be having interviews with the cast of the Suicide Squad, including John Cena. So, and James Gunn, and Margot Robbie, and some other ones.
Nice.
And Idris. Everybody.
What about the Weasel, though? You're going to interview the Weasel?
I got the brother. That's all I get. I wish I could get the Weasel.
There you go.
Wish. But, yeah, that has been everything we had to discuss about the Suicide Squad, and it was wonderful. And go watch it if you haven't seen it already. If you have seen it already.
Yes, go watch it again.
Yeah, go watch it again. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.